Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally connects every single one of us, but is also a huge mystery: sleep. This is SciSage, where we believe everything can be simple. But is getting a good night's sleep really that simple? I mean, think about it. We're surrounded by all this so-called common wisdom about sleep, but how much of it is actually true? So, to help us separate the facts from the fiction, we're going to lean on some real experts, people like Dr. Rebecca Robbins from Harvard Medical School. And she kicks things off with a pretty bold claim. She says that hitting the snooze bar is one of the worst things you can do. Let's find out why. All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with your daily habits, then dig into your body clock, figure out what actually happens when you're out cold, and wrap up with how to actually sleep better. Okay, let's get into it. First up, your daily sleep habits. You know, all those little choices we make every single day that might be totally sabotaging our sleep, and we don't even realize it. And yeah, that brings us right to our first myth, the one that, let's be honest, probably tempted you this morning. The idea that hitting snooze will give you just a little bit more meaningful rest. Yeah, not so fast. The reality is that snooze button sleep, it's junk sleep. It's not real rest. What you're actually doing is chopping up your sleep cycle and robbing yourself of precious REM sleep. And that's the really important stuff. It's when your brain is hard at work processing memories and emotions. So when you keep interrupting that process, you're setting yourself up for bigger problems down the line. Things that can mess with everything from your mood to your heart health. It's literally one of the worst ways you can start your day. So what are you supposed to do instead? Well, try this. Sleep as late as you possibly can. Set one alarm, just one, for the absolute latest time you can wake up. And when that alarm goes off, you commit. You get up. And hey, if you're still totally wiped out, that's your body sending you a really clear signal. You need more total sleep, not just more alarms. Okay, let's talk about another really common habit. You know, the myth that a nice little nap can totally make up for a bad night's sleep. Look, a quick nap can be awesome, don't get me wrong, but it is not a substitute for a full night's sleep. The perfect power nap is really only about 20 minutes. That's just long enough to recharge you, but short enough that you don't wake up feeling all groggy. But here's the catch. If you've already had a good night's sleep, a long nap can actually backfire and make it way harder to fall asleep later. All right, so those daily habits are super important, but they're all connected to something much deeper, our internal body clock. So let's dive into mastering these powerful internal rhythms that govern our sleep. You know how society is always praising the early bird? Well, science is here to tell us that's kind of nonsense. There's no better way to be. Whether you're a morning lark or a night owl is all about your chronotype. It's just your body's natural programming. The biggest problem is that our whole 9-to-5 world is basically built for morning people. So if you're a night owl, the secret is to stop fighting it. Understand your own rhythm and try to schedule your most important stuff for when you know you'll be at your peak. Okay, this next one is for all you travelers out there. The myth that you can cure jet lag by just pulling an all-nighter and forcing your body onto the new time zone. Yeah, that doesn't work. Pulling an all-nighter isn't curing jet lag, it's just plain old sleep deprivation. If you really want to adjust, the best thing you can do is get outside. Get some natural light in your new time zone. Light is the most powerful signal you can send to reset your body clock. It also helps if you prepare a few days before you leave by shifting your schedule a little bit. And most of all, just be patient with yourself. It takes time. So now let's pull back the curtain and explore what's really going on when our eyes are shut. Section 3, what happens during sleep? Okay, this next one is a huge one, and it's a really dangerous misconception. The idea that if you snore, you automatically have sleep apnea. It is so important to get this straight. Look, simple snoring is basically just a sound, but obstructive sleep apnea, that's when your airway is actually collapsing, causing you to literally stop breathing. That's why the other symptoms are the real red flags. If your snoring comes with being exhausted all day, or if someone tells you that you gasp for air in your sleep, you have to talk to a doctor. This is a life-threatening condition, and it's not something to mess around with. And that brings us to our final section, how to sleep better. And really, it all starts by totally redefining what it even means to be a good sleeper in the first place. You know that image we all have, the good sleeper who's out like a light the second their head hits the pillow? Turns out that's a complete myth. Falling asleep instantly isn't some kind of superpower, it's a massive red flag for severe sleep deprivation. A genuinely well-rested person should actually take about 15, maybe 20 minutes to gently drift off to sleep. And that leads us to our final myth for today. The idea that more sleep is always better, that you can never get too much of it. Well, it turns out that's not true either. More is not always better. For most of us, peak performance really happens in that sweet spot, right around 7 to 8 hours a night. So the real key isn't just about the duration of your sleep, it's about the consistency. When you try to catch up on the weekends, all you're doing is giving your internal clock a massive case of whiplash, which makes it even harder to get through the week. So let's boil this all down to 3 new, simple rules for healthy sleep. Rule number 1, consistency is king. Prioritize it over everything else. Number 2, listen to your body. Figure out the amount of sleep that actually makes you feel your best. And number 3, pay attention to those warning signs. If something feels off, don't be afraid to talk to a doctor. When you think about it, it all comes down to this one staggering fact. You're going to spend about 26 years of your life asleep. So after everything we've talked about today, the real question is, are you making them count?